So I've been really thinking about how I can broach this subject because I think that it's quite a broad subject and it has a lot of technical depth, but I'm going to kind of try to narrow it down and skim it into a very small package. So basically I'm going to be talking about our inner reference and how we internalize our outer experience through our senses, which are external, but our entire experience, which we think is external, and we think that everything outside us affects our mood, but it's actually our reference of what's happening externally affects our mood. So to put this into context, if, like I said in one of my previous videos, if you're happy, your perception will be to pick certain or filter certain elements out. If you're sad, you will also filter certain elements out. So if we're more aware of our emotion and we're not being led by our emotions, so we can actually reference our emotions. And I'm not talking about being so logical that we're not able to be aware of ourselves, because we need to be in between logic and in between emotion. Without a balance of both, we're not human. So to be really intellectual is great, but if that means you don't believe in anything unless it can be proven, that means that you're actually missing out on a lot of the human experience. But to be emotionally charged, and everything that you see or do, you have to have an emotional attachment to, can also mean that you're missing out on the logical experience, and you can be quite disorganized and compulsive, and also very difficult to talk to, because if you say the wrong thing to an emotionally charged person, they tend to overcompensate their emotion. So if you imagine, they tend to overreact, so they're overcompensating, so people around them feel like they can be walking on eggshells. But a logical person will always want to have everything proven, and he needs all the facts and figures, and needs everything ticked and all the boxes ticked. So if we can find a balance between the two of these, what we end up with is something called intuition. So it's more feeling for how I should think and thinking for how I should feel. It's combining the both ways that we think and feel to find the balance between the two. Because we kind of obviously understand the universe and the world around us through our senses. It's really important that we remove too much of our past experience, as much of our past experiences as we can, so that we can be in the present. So if we carry in too many experiences around with us, we tend to miss the whole point of what's happening in front of us. So say a primal example is if I either remind you of some positive experience you've had in life or a negative experience in life. Just so instance, say I might be similar to somebody's ex-boyfriend, or I might be similar to somebody's friend that they hang around with. And if someone's had a really positive experience with somebody that looks like me and acts a bit like me, they would be looking at all of the things I'm saying and think of it in a positive way. Vice versa, if someone is actually thinking about me with a negative experience because they've had a boyfriend which treated them badly, they're already prejudging me and they're staining me with that other person, but I'm not that other person. You can't stain me with the other person. I might have certain characteristics which are similar, but I'm not that other person. It doesn't mean that I'm untrustworthy. It doesn't mean that I'm a bad person, and maybe that other person was untrustworthy and a bad person, and now I've got to prove myself to you. But why should I have to prove myself to you? What right have you got to say I have to prove myself to you? Can you see my point? It's only your prejudgment has asked me to prove myself to you, and then I don't have to prove myself to the person who trusts me. But you should, the people who trust me automatically should also be asking themselves why they trust me and should they trust me. I'm not here to tell you you have to trust me. I'm not telling you that you don't have to trust me. I'm just trying to make sense of how we perceive everything around us. So we take information externally, internally think about that external information, then we try to make sense of it by our past experiences. And if we've had lots of negative ones, we'll see it in one light. And if we've had lots of positive ones, we'll see it in another light. And then we regurgitate that experience back out onto the person or the environment that we're in. That then creates a counter reaction from the environment that we're in. So our understanding of what's happening is regurgitated, which creates a counter reaction, and that creates the reality that we're in. So the thing we have to be aware of is to bring ourselves more internally and to reference how we're thinking through our experience and say, am I being fair? Am I being clear? Am I living in the moment? Am I carrying all of these past experiences around, saying that this is the truth? And if you believe that everything you see is the truth and it's the truth and nobody can tell me otherwise, I'm sorry to tell you, you're going to have a big wake-up call, because you're only seeing what you want to see. You're only believing what you want to believe. And sadly, a lot of the time, we can prejudge other people and box them. But how does that feel when someone prejudges us and boxes us and they don't get us right? And I've had that a lot of times happen to me, where a lot of people prejudge me and pre-box me and try to categorize me and try to make sense of me without actually getting to really know me. And that really is frustrating. But it's so easy for us to prejudge other people and pre-box them, and we do that with everybody around us. How does it feel when we do that, have that done to us? So we have to really think about what we're doing, why we're doing it, and the reason why we're doing it, and then we can react to what's in front of us. So it's to be more centralized, like in Buddhism and in many of the practices, many of the top systems, which like the mindfulness and how to be in the moment, is all based on this. So part of what I'm teaching you is a bit of NLP. The part of it is a bit of meditative practice, mindfulness as well. It's combined a scientific and a spiritual element to try and give you a good combination of both sides. So if we can actually make sense of the world in front of us with less of a tainted view, positive or negative, and see things as they truly are in front of us, we're able to react to them much better, much clearer, and without prejudgment, without categorizing things in front of us, which makes us internally referenced and makes us a better person, because we're able to react with more honesty and truth and maturity to the environment around us, rather than having a preconception, a prejudgment, and going into an environment and trying to make it what we want it to be and trying to control it. We destroy what's actually there because we're not accepting what's there. So I hope you really enjoyed this video today. If you could subscribe to my YouTube channel, that would really be great. If you can share my videos to as many people as you can, that would be also great. I make this effort so I can actually pass on some amazing information. I'm paying for a course at the moment to learn how to be an NLP practitioner and master practitioner. And I'm passing on some really cool information to you for free. So I really hope this helps you to really start to think about what you're doing. This is Namaste Nick, signing out and sending you some love in the world. Hope you enjoyed my cast. Thank you. Bye-bye.